Hi everyone, we're back from Washington, D.C. Had a couple of reruns the last few videos, and we also had the Jack Rose video and a couple of others, but I am exhausted. It's been a long day. We have some really crazy traffic on the I-95 corridor between Washington and New York, and in my case, New Jersey, especially on Sundays, coming back from all these graduations going on and just regular traffic. So I'm shot, but kind of wanted to just get back to the swing of some videos here, and of course, I need to review this one, this Green River Wheated Bourbon. This is the one I picked up in Washington, D.C. Got this one for $41.99. I've told them a couple of people maybe I overpaid by a few dollars. I don't think it was anything significant. And the reason I saw this is very simple. I never see this anywhere in New Jersey. In fact, the last Green River I tried was the one I bought in Florida, and that was just a regular, straight bourbon, rye bourbon. But this is the one that gets all the hype. There was one bottle of this on a shelf. It had this little thing, deal today. I don't think it's a deal, but I saw one, I bought one, and I'm going to review this one right now. I just want to full disclaimer here. When I did have the Green River regular bourbon, the rye bourbon, I'm going to say I didn't like it, but there was just some bitter note. The way I best described it, it was a bitter note kind of going right across the mid-palate. I don't know what it was, but it's just something that just took away from me really enjoying this, and my, opinion on that one was really not that great. I'm hoping that's not the same thing in this one, but I really want to pop it open right now and find out. I kind of went through all the specifics about this in my last video, so I'm not going to bore you with all that now, but basically there are a lot of similarities with the rye bourbon. It's 90 proof. Again, Bardstown Bourbon Company is the company, Green River Distilling Company in Owensboro, Kentucky. It's non-age stated. I think Breaking Bourbon says this is at least 4 years old. I know the other one may have been 5. Now, it's kind of interesting. The mash bill for the rye bourbon and the wheated bourbon is exactly the same, except the same exact percentage. They substitute the rye for the wheat. So we have 70% corn, 21% wheat, and 9% malted barley. The other one was 21% rye. It was winter rye. This is 21% wheat. So, relatively decently high wheat content there. And I understand these were released, I think they started being released in March of 2023. So the key thing here is I've heard so much about this one specifically, and I want to see, hopefully I don't get that same bitter taste on this one that I got on the rye bourbon. So let's crack this open right now. Okay, well, that was an atrocious cork pop. I mean, it was about as bad as it could be. It just felt like it was almost open. I would almost think it was open, but of course there is that seal here that was clearly sealed, and now it's not. So hopefully the bourbon inside is okay, and, we'll know in a second. So let's get right into the nose. It's kind of a mild nose. It is 90 proof. Some classic wheated bourbon. There is certain wheated bourbon notes I get. This is on the mild side. Let's get right into the taste. Cheers. Okay, well, first things first, I'm not detecting that same bitter taste I got from the rye bourbon, at least not yet. Now I'm starting to wonder if I did, but it was definitely more pronounced when I had the rye bourbon. Maybe it was something with the winter rye. Without that there, this is just regular wheated bourbon. Generally, wheated bourbon would be more subtle and soft, so I'm not getting that, I don't think. Getting some classic, caramel vanilla. It feels like a relatively light, for 90 proof, a light 90 proof. I don't know how to say it better, but it seems to be very, I guess maybe because I was having the benchmark foolproof in my hotel room for days, maybe everything seems lighter, but this does feel like a lighter 90 proof, if I can describe that right. Nothing terribly offensive with this. I would say some classic bourbon notes, decent legs on this. I guess I'd kind of put it like this. We've had a lot of wheated bourbon reviews recently. I generally like the wheated bourbons now, kind of like at the higher proofs. So this is 90 proof. So what would I compare it to in a wheated bourbon? Okay, so if I'm comparing this to, as much as I love Maker's Mark, it's always the flagship, quote unquote. There's the one that I'm never totally enthralled with. and I know a lot of people feel the same way. So if I compare this to the Maker's Mark flagship 90 proof, I like this better. If I compare this to the other Maker's Marks, obviously I would say those. I'm trying to think of where other weeded bourbons. Okay, so as an example, Larceny. Okay, so same thing with the higher proofs. Larceny small batch, I think that's 92 proof. Definitely like this better. Larceny barrel proof is fantastic. So I've been, with the Maker's Mark cask strength I've been having recently. Everyone knows about that Old Dummer, which knocked out Maker's Mark cask strength and my other weeded bourbon. So the moral of the story is I think I like the weeded bourbons better at the higher proofs. But if we're talking about 90 proof and a weeded bourbon, this definitely sits well. I think I like that better than the flagship Maker's Mark, even better than the Rebel 10. It's a very pleasant tasting bourbon, weeded bourbon. I could see why a lot of people really like this, and I definitely think now that I've had a few sips of this, this is definitely better than the rye bourbon, than the Green River rye bourbon, and I'm not getting that bitter taste. So that must have been something specific to the rye portion in it. But I don't know how to describe this better. It feels like a very light 90 proof. And again, it's probably because I was having the full proof for a while. But this is what I would say is I can see why people like it. It's definitely a very nice sipping 90 proof weeded bourbon. I do prefer at this point the higher proofs in any of the weeded bourbons in general, but certainly with the weeded bourbons. But when you're talking about a 90 proof, I just gave you two examples where this is better than a Maker's Mark 90 proof and a Larceny small batch 90 proof, in my opinion. And as you know, there's no right or wrong. Everybody's opinion is just as valid as the next person. So I just wanted to kind of do this one. What I want to do next, and I did put a video out on this one, is I want to do the review of that High West finished in Barbados rum barrels. That one I really want to do. That's coming up next because I love rum almost as much as I love whiskey. So that one's coming up next, but I figured I just picked this up in Washington. I kind of wanted to do a quick, I've kind of reviewed, and if you want to hear more details, you can go back and see the other Green River, the rye bourbon I did when I was in Florida. I didn't want to, repeat that, but this was, I think it was a good one to do tonight. And now it's definitely time to end the day and go to sleep. So more reviews to come. Cheers, take care, and thanks for watching.